of a meeting to order. Please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I will turn it over to Bob for roll call.
Roll call. Supervisor Mullen.
Present.
Assessor Trowbridge.
Present.
Highway Commissioner Young.
Here.
Trustee Reed.
Here.
Trustee Chapman.
Here.
Trustee Signorella.
Here.
And Trustee Ellen is absent?
Yes.
Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Oh, sure, and Clerk Clarence.
For the record, do you have everyone on the Zoom already, or do you need to make sure we need
I believe so. Here's who I have. Please let me know if there's someone there. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I've written down the names. I have, we go all the way back. Again, there's the board. Rob Gaylord. And then I have Scott Silver, David Strike. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. I have Jim Bondurant. Got it. I have Paula Garcia. Got it. I have Emily Glassberg. If I wrote that name down already. And John Kroll. Let's see who else I got here. I think it's going to be Emily Glassberg. Looks like she's on twice, or maybe just run through. No, Debbie Polowitz, and then Mike Reed. So yep, I believe I've got everyone.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, that brings us to item number 4, public comment. I do know Paula Garcia had requested to make a comment regarding the garden. So Paula, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, please do.
Yeah, hi. Good to see everybody again. I just wanted to kind of give an end of the season garden kind of a wrap up of what happened this last season. I wanted to first of all give a big thank you to all the garden volunteers that came out. They were fighting the drought, the heat, and a huge woodchuck. So they did all of that with a lot of strength and a lot of fearfulness of an animal that was going to get them. So I want to thank them very much first. I want to thank Jennifer Butler, who completed our compost barrel for her Gold Star project. I wanted to give a big thank you to Calvin Moses from Troop 199, who did the 2 compost bins. And I wanted to thank the Lisle Community Service Corporation, which has given us over a $1,200 grant to actually build a fence around the garden next year to actually stop the woodchuck from coming in. So we're excited about that. And they have the Boy Scout, and I have a Boy Scout and a whole troop ready to help build that fence. So I just wanted to give that. We're hoping that we were able to help a lot of food insecure people, and we're looking forward to doing it again next year. So thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Paula, did they have any guesstimate of the pounds that were collected or the amount this year?
We usually don't get that till like April, when they do the end of the annual meeting for the township. That's when they give us the numbers.
I don't think we have
Everybody for us.
like a similar as last year. It seemed like everything was going really well, despite the problems and critters.
The garden.
Yeah, we had a week of bee stings too. That was kind of an interesting challenge.
Yes, forgot about that. Yes. Great volunteers. So thank you. Looking forward to doing it next year.
I didn't have anyone sign up on the form online for public comment. So is there anyone else who is online who would like to offer public comment? Hearing none, we'll move forward to approval of the October 14th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Secondary reading. The one item for discussion I'll say is thank you all for taking care of the meeting in my sudden unexpected absence. Really appreciate everyone jumping in, pitching in, taking on running the meeting. So thank you very much, everyone, for making that happen.
Can I say, I'd like to have my attachment, the resolution that I signed disposing of equipment, and attachment to the equipment I was disposing of. I sent it out to the trustees, I think the day of the meeting with my last email. I'd just like to have that all attached.
That is, yes. If you look at the end of the minutes,
I did look at the minutes, but I didn't see the resolution of disposal of property. If it's there, I'm sorry, that's fine.
oh, so it was what was in the third email, which was a spreadsheet that detailed what it was, I believe, but I can see if I can add something into it, but like I said,
There was a PDF attached, Bob, that included a resolution that I signed. As a matter of fact, you signed it as well, and a listing of the equipment we intend to dispose of.
okay.
All the trustees got in the email, and we discussed. I remember discussing with them at the meeting.
No, like I said, no problem.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I also noticed a typo on there, Bob.
Okay.
Yep, in the part about the managed print contact, there was a roll call vote, and Mike Tams is one of the guys that voted on it, and I believe he was our.
All right. We didn't do anything. We tabled that anyway, so we're good. I'll get take care of that.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay,
You
so
need proof here. Just motion. You want to
yeah,
amend your
would
motion?
you like to amend your motion to amend the minutes per as requested? Accordingly.
Yes, I will amend my motion to include the reference to Ed's changes.
And Mike, would you still second that revised motion?
Yes. Second.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you're amending underneath where we did the motion to make Mike Reedy the meeting chairman, right? That the ayes listed there are incorrect, and the ayes should read Trustee Signorella, Trustee Reedy, and myself, and Trustee Allen. Is that correct?
Yes, that's one of the, that's the items, and then there's also Ed's addition attachment.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah. For the original.
Okay. All right, I'll let him make a quick edit. You good?
Yeah.
All right.
Got it. Correct the section.
And would you like to do roll call, please, on that?
Yes. Trustee Reedy.
Yes.
Trustee Chapman. Kathy.
She's on mute.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Right. And Trustee Signorella.
Yes.
And yes.
Good. Good. Well, sorry, we're still writing.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So October 14th regular meeting minutes are approved. That moves us into item 6, discussion of potential action on the Clark mosquito abatement contract. This essentially looks the same as it has in previous years. Emily Glassberg is on the call with us from Clark, and she is available to answer any questions. And Emily, if there's anything you'd like to overview on this for the trustees before we move into it.
Sure, and let me just say I'm at home with my 2 boys, so if I get clotheslined, like, don't be surprised. Yeah, just a quick overview of your program. The bulk of your program comprises monitoring and surveillance for mosquito populations and disease in the township. We have a light trap that we run that captures live mosquito data, and we combine that with data from your surrounding communities and data from the health department to make recommendations on, you know, when would be a really good time to spray or when would be a better time to wait for more ideal conditions. We also do different kinds of forecasting and models, similar to how weather people, you know, predict storms. We can predict when mosquito broods are going to pop. And the bulk of your program does consist of larval control. We come out 9 times throughout your season, and we look at areas that hold standing water. So those could be anything ranging from a retention pond to just a small little floodplain. We keep records of all the breeding sites. And so 3 times a year, we look at all nearly 90 of your sites, 3 times during the summer. And then just to lean out your program, another 6 times we come out and we check sites that have historically turned up positive for mosquito breeding. We also treat your catch basins each month from May, June, July, and August, roughly. And then we come out 3 times within your core program to do township-wide applications with the ULV mist. So because the mosquito spends about, you know, the first 3 to 10 days of its life in the water, we like to focus more on killing them when they're in their larval state, rather than have the basis of your program on just spraying. So the sprays are used to supplement all the larval control that we do. This contract is the same as the one you had previously, and your price is held through the whole contract period, which is 3 years. That's kind of the rundown, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
And like said, the same price, $50,850 per year for over each of the next 3 years is the length of the contract. And we typically budget a little bit more than that, but I think it's $54,000 currently, just in case we have an additional spray that's necessary. That happened 2 years ago when we had a really bad summer, really bad out of control population for a while, that we did an additional spray. So we have a little bit extra in the budget to cover that should it be necessary. Just, since you weren't here for budget discussions, so I want you to know how that was. With that, I will ask if there is a motion to approve the contract for mosquito abatement.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Clark mosquito abatement contract.
I will second that.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, then I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Trustee Reedy,
Yes.
Trustee Chapman,
Yes.
Trustee Cigarella. Yes. And Supervisor Mullen.
Yes. Right, our Clark mosquito abatement contract is approved. Thanks for being on, Emily.
Thank you, great seeing you. Almost as good as seeing you in person. Stay healthy, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, so next up on the agenda is discussion of potential action on employee health care insurance renewal. Dave is on from Esther Hayes. We have 3 options presented to us just to be able to look at a variety of options. The Blue Cross Blue Shield is our current provider. There is about a 5% increase overall in price with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's been the insurance provider for our employees for a very long time, and we've been through very steep increases in the past, and had to manage those pretty closely and add some variety to our package in order to be able to manage that. The other 2 options that Esther Hayes pulled together just as comparison, one was United Healthcare, which would keep us about the same as where we are currently, and then Humana Medical, which was a much larger increase. My recommendation is to go with the Blue Cross Blue Shield, because while United Healthcare would keep us at the same price point in what we contribute, the deductibles are different, the plans are different, and it causes some disruption for the employees. And the amount of disruption that would cause, the changes that it would bring, I think outweigh the difference in price that we would be paying. So it's my recommendation that we continue to use Blue Cross Blue Shield as our provider for insurance for all of our employees. Now, when I say our employees, it's the township, as it does have a separate contract for insurance for the highway department, so just as a reminder. So that would include staff in the supervisor's office, staff in the assessor's office under this umbrella. The one other thing, and David, if you want to talk, like I should talk a bit more in detail about this, we did also get a rebate discount thing related to COVID. The insurance providers are giving a bit of a refund that then helps offset the increase. It's because, and you'll see this again when we talk about the next agenda item, we weren't here. We weren't exposed to the same things. We were all sheltering in place. We were at home. So there's some give back, some rebate from the insurance providers on that.
Yeah, that rebate was about 15% of your October premium. So it equates to about, little over 1% savings off of this 5% increase. And as Mary Jo said, the United Healthcare plan keeps you where your rates are, but their best PPO plan has a $1,500 deductible, whereas your two PPO plans, where 10 out of your 13 members have a $750 and a $250 deductible. So it would dramatically increase your deductible and your out-of-pocket to keep you at the same price. So really the savings that United Healthcare has is only in plan design. I could easily just bump everyone to a $1,500 deductible with Blue Cross and offset that. But most of your members are on a $250 deductible. So moving them to a $1,500 deductible is just a huge increase. So I think that's why Mary Jo obviously is recommending that Blue Cross plan.
I think one of the other issues we would have as well is that trying to go find new primary care doctors in the middle of the pandemic and get something you're careful with. I think that's as much a concern as cost savings. That all of a sudden you have to go find a new doctor in the middle of this who you've never seen and do virtual visits.
Right, that's very fair.
I was going to say, if we could make this as seamless as possible right now, that would be preferred.
Exactly. So with that, I would ask for a motion to renew our Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance contract.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
No, I was going to say also, in my time on this board, I think 5% of an increase for the healthcare program is actually very good. If I remember the first 2 years that I was on this board, we were talking increases, in the range of 13 to 15, even 20% at one point. So yeah. I think a 5% increase, especially during a pandemic, seems to be rather reasonable in order for maintaining the coverage that our employees are expecting. So I fully agree with this process. Am I wrong on that? I'm sure David or Bob or Ed, about 4 or 5 years ago, weren't we talking double-digit increases for these plans at the time?
It was about a 20% increase, and that's when we added a couple of plans and changed how we matched on the lowest deductible plan. Yeah, and that ended up making it more like overall a 15% increase, I think, when we made that adjustment. But yeah, it's been under that since then. But I would say, I think last year we came in just about even. Is that right, David? Do you remember?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
And then, so just a slight increase this year compared to other experiences we've had.
So thank you to David and your team and all your work on this. It sounds like, we're able to provide for our employees a high quality benefit for them while also being responsible on how we're spending the money. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Taking a 25% this year.
Wow. So double. Okay. If there's no other discussion, then I'll ask for a roll call vote on this, please, Bob.
Trustee Reedy.
Yes.
Trustee Chapman.
Yes.
Vanilla. Yes. Supervisor Mullen.
Yes. All right, that brings us to the next item. Thank you, David, so much.
Thanks, guys.
With your time tonight now.
Take care.
Bye. So next up is discussion of and potential action on the township insurance renewal. So this includes all of our coverage for the township and highway department relative to liability, the trucks, our property, all the fun stuff that umbrellas over the township. So Rob Gaylord is on the phone with us from Conner & Gallagher, who prepared this proposal. Inside of it, you will see that there is a comparison of our last year premium, which was $105,381, to this year's proposal of $92,875. And you'll see a premium credit, which is the same type of credit that we saw with the health insurance related to COVID, that there was less risk as most offices and our space was unoccupied for a period of time, and we've been operating differently. So this year's proposal is less than last year's. Rob, is there anything that you need to mention or cover before we move forward?
I think he fell asleep.
Is he on mute?
Doesn't look like it. I'm going to take it that he's good.
Okay.
Let me throw my 2 cents in here. We've had a wonderful relationship with them. They've been very responsive whenever we've had questions. As a matter of fact, I called Mr. Gaylord today concerning the COVID questions, and he not only answered it, but gave me extraordinary service in finding some vendors who could help us out.
And as we've discussed before, our service from Conner & Gallagher has always been amazing. They're very supportive of the township, and there's additional services embedded into our contract, like trainings that they provide to ed staff relative to highway and safety, as well as any office-related services too. So
And those,
very good experience.
those actually bring down our premiums when those guys attend them. You mentioned that they do that, and I think that's good. I want to mention that Tony's sake, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, how long have we been with Conner & Gallagher? I saw something in here, retroactive dates to 2003, I believe it was.
That was probably when we switched over.
Yeah, I think it was, this is Rob Gaylor, I think 2003.
7 years ago.
It's been quite some time.
Yeah, Rob, when was it?
I think, I think 2005, maybe. I've gone through a few elections, so I think 2005. I have to go back in my notes, but I know Ed was just speaking in regards to some of our other options we talked about today. So because it's obviously today's a different day and time. I know you have the all the services through ICRMT, which is through us, and the carrier, but we as Conner & Gallagher also offer a bunch of other services. We're doing HR and payroll and all that other stuff, but right now, obviously, what is really imperative is the COVID. So we're offering, questions. People are, always calling us on the COVID, and we have some partners that we partner with that actually will do on-site testing for COVID, if that's of interest to you guys.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, so just to let you know, I'll shoot you some emails so you guys can have it.
No, I was going to evaluate that service because we had a COVID issue, which I'll talk about later, that we may want to avail ourselves of that service.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and I think I shot you an email on that, and I'll send it off to Mary Jo, and then you guys could forward it off to the rest of the board, and just take a look at it. And it's just something that I've been getting just inquiries from every one of my customers, whether it's public entities or businesses, because obviously it's different, and who wants to go out and get their own test if you can, someone come to your office and do it, and it's all covered under the health insurance.
Thank you. So that is
Perfect.
to approve our township insurance renewal.
I'll make the motion to approve the township insurance renewal as presented.
So motion by Kathy, seconded by Tony.
Did you get a second?
We
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it, Mike, thank you.
Any further question or discussion?
Nope.
All right, then on for the vote, please.
Trustee Reedy?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Signorella?
Yes.
And Supervisor Mullen?
Yes. So our township insurance renewal is approved. We had in the audit the 3 checks that will cover this. They were been set aside pending this action. So now they will be officially included in one check with the 3 funds broken down. I always forget that we do it that way. So that now will be included into the entire audit. It was reviewed already during that process. Just FYI. Okay, that moves us into discussion of and potential action on salaries of elected officials for the period of 2021 through 2024. So, open my spreadsheet. Really no laughing? No applause in front of my spreadsheet?
Enjoy the sympathy when you got it. Thank you.
Okay, so 2 months ago, we had an initial discussion, actually maybe started a month before, of just what would you need, what would you like to see, and in September, we brought forward some data of what the history of our salaries were, comparison with townships, how that broke down for the highway commissioner relative to road miles, and then some what if scenarios of what if, it's going all the way back to 2005, if we had gone from, increases CPI every year, what it would have looked like in that case? What if we increased it by COLA every year? Where would we have landed in this case? And just running some scenarios to get a feeling kind of what actually happened and what, based on how other governmental bodies do increases and stuff, just to have a complete picture. So we have a township breakdown that was get provided. We talked about some specific numbers proposed in the September board meeting. And there were some requests to go back and look at holding trustee and clerk salaries fairly steady. The supervisor's salary was reduced a bit, and then trying to put some of that money towards the highway commissioner and assessor, as they are full-time employees and have larger staff, larger responsibilities, especially in relationship to the other townships. So in the spreadsheet I sent out, there on the last tab called recommendations, there is what was proposed in the September board meeting for reference, and what I proposed. It was on last month's agenda but tabled in my absence. So what's currently proposed for the elected official position. And then for reference at the bottom, there's where we are during our current term, just so you can kind of compare what's happening up and down. So what this results in is a 7.5% decrease in the supervisor's salary, 0.4% increase. I just made it a round number for clerk. The trustees are held the same. The assessors increased to about 13.7%, and highway commissioner increased 9.5%. So this was my recommendation after some conversations. I know, Ed, you had some additional information that you shared going into the last meeting as well, correct? Oh, you're muted. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. And your number, your proposed number now is within spitting distance of what I had in my one that I sent out the last month. So I concur with your recommendation.
Okay, cool. So I will leave it open for discussion to start with Kathy, Mike, Tony, on any questions, any thoughts about what's in front of you.
Mike, can I chime in here?
Absolutely.
I'm happy with everything except the highway commissioner. And I'd like to see the highway commissioner up more, closer to what the other highway commissioners around the county are getting, like closer to maybe 102, 103,000, somewhere in that ballpark. I see the assessor got a 13 point something % raise. Maybe I just propose that the highway commissioner gets the same or somewhere close to that, like maybe 10 or 11% raise to get them up in the 101, 102,000 neighborhood, which is still probably lower than the other highway commissioners, but from what I see. But that is just one of my thoughts. Otherwise, I'm happy with all the other salaries.
I think,
The exact 13.7 also, weirdly enough.
historically, I think Lisle Township has always wanted their salaries for the elected officials to be right in the middle. Not high, not low, someplace in the middle. Because it's a difficult subject. You know, I think with the assessor, I think he does an outstanding job, probably should be the highest paid assessor in the county. And obviously it's the same for the highway commissioner. But in that email that I sent out for last month, the middle of the road would be $100,000, I think, 100 and some odd change. And this, Mary Jo has 99 tools. So in my mind, that's the middle. So I would caution us, I don't want to get out in front of this too much. So if you want to take it to 100, that's fine, but I wouldn't take it much above that.
Other thoughts?
You know, I'm wondering if this is something that needs to be tackled right now.
It is.
It is. We're at that
Needs
point.
to be done by the 17th of the month.
Okay.
Well, is
Ed and Mike are
is there any more?
comfortable.
Yeah, well, Kathy?
I would say if Ed and Mike are comfortable with the 99 too, I'm comfortable with it as well. If Mike, if you'd rather see that closer to a round number of 100, I'd be comfortable in that range as well. Mary Jo would have to do the quick math for me and tell me what that percentage increase is. But you know, making it, like I said, right in the middle of the road at 100, I think is reasonable for these positions, and it puts us back on track from the 2 and 3 cycles ago, so 8 and 12 years ago, when this board kept salaries relatively fixed due to the impact of the what was happening in our community. I think it's time to catch it up and have us be competitive and in line with the responsibilities. So if Mike, if you'd like to see that at 100, and Tony, you as well would concur, then I would make a motion to approve the salaries as presented by Trustee Mullen, with the change that the highway commissioner be an even $100,000 over the course of the 4 years.
I'd second that motion.
Okay, let me get this right. So you will, Trustee Chapman is making the motion to support the proposal.
To approve.
To approve, sorry. She said she would support.
I know.
Approve.
Is that fair, Kathy, or to approve the
I
proposal?
think it is.
Yeah, I know. I just want to, I think technically we need to make sure it's an approval.
So, to approve the proposal put forth by the supervisor, with the addition, or with one change. And that is the highway commissioner should earn a salary of, was it 100? 100,000.
Fixed over the course of the 4 years, just like the structure for all the rest.
Oh, for each of the next 4 years?
Yes.
Okay. Was there a second?
Yeah, I seconded it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other discussion before we move into a vote? Okay, and I will start with you, Bob.
Certainly, trustee Reedy,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
trustee Signorella,
Yes.
and supervisor Mullen.
Yes. Okay. The salaries for elected officials for 2021 through 2024 are approved. We will move forward on submitting that. That brings us to discussion of and potential action on the impact managed print contract. Several meetings ago, we really are excited about a printer. Several meetings ago, we decided to move forward. The board gave us approval to negotiate with Impact on a managed print contract. In your packet was the actual final contract that was reviewed by both myself and Carrie Lynn as our lawyer. So it's been fully reviewed and matches up with the numbers that were provided in the previous meeting. So with that, I will just ask, is there a motion to approve the impact managed print contract?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the impact managing print contract.
I can second that one.
Second by Tony. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, then I will ask Bob for a roll call vote.
Trustee Reedy,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
trustee Signorella,
Yes.
and supervisor Mullen.
Yes. The impact management contract is approved. We will quickly work to get a new printer into our office. Considering we just had our jam for the 48th time today. So, well done. All right, next up is discussion of a potential action to provide additional funding for the Career and Networking Center due to COVID-19 impact. As we have walked through the CARES Act agreement with the county, one of the things that is eligible for reimbursement is funding and support of nonprofit partners that you work with closely to help them through this period where they also are struggling and having to change their operations, change how they do services to deliver the services. Our partnership with the Career Networking Center has been long, and we are annual sponsors of them. We have a funding amount of $5,000 a year that we, is five, right? Yeah, $5,000 a year that helps support their programs, in addition to our social worker, Sarah, being the lead of the Jobs Club program. So as you were provided in your packet, a letter or summary from Kim White, the executive director of the CNC, summarizing kind of what they've been through, the lack of revenues and how they've had to change their services. They currently are looking for a way to better offer services online that they haven't been able to do so yet. So we've been doing Jobs Club online. They've been able to pivot a lot of the routine stuff, but there's some more services they want to try pushing out that would bring the Career Networking Center a lot more virtual, a lot more responsive in the COVID environment. So because of our partnership, because they are struggling anyway and they have this need, I wanted to bring it to the board and ask if there was consideration for providing additional funding, maybe unbudgeted, but we can pull it from another line item that would help support them and keep them going and doing the good work that they do in, especially right now during COVID, helping people gain employment. The one other area that I wanted to mention on that is, as I said in the very beginning, it would be a reimbursable expense if we provided funding to them through the CARES Act, DuPage County agreement that we have. So even if we outbuy the money and support the CNC at a higher rate this year, those additional funds are reimbursable. So I wanted to bring this up to everybody, get a feel for if you're interested in supporting them, and talk about what we can do.
What kind of money are you talking about, Mary Jo?
My gut feeling was 5. That's exactly what Bob just indicated too. My gut was just to kind of double what we had done before. We've already given them the $5,000 for our annual work together. I would recommend another 5,000.
Would this be a regular thing now, or just for the current period of time? If you know what I mean.
Due to COVID, it would just be a one-time thing. We would go next year back to the routine of $5,000 a year to support them. It's just while they're trying to be able to really help the increasing number of people who are unemployed because of COVID and be able to reach them in a new way, we'd like to support that effort just one time. And like I said, that's also going to be reimbursable. If we do it, we can get, I can submit it through the CARES Act agreement.
Scott just noted.
I was going to, if we were going to do this, one of my requests was going to be that you allow us to, our approval, if we did this, would allow us to write the check and then be ratified in next month's audit. That way it could be expended and submitted for reimbursement.
In my opinion, this is one of those things that we do that preempts more people needing the food pantry, needing care, the substantial amount of funding that it takes to help through our social services group by helping them get a job sooner. Again, as everybody knows, I mean, I was a client of the center earlier this summer, but it's a good service, it's a good system. I think I went to a job club meeting and everything, I mean, Jerry's doing good work there, and in my opinion, it's helped us get people back to work sooner. So I would ask you guys to consider supporting under that. And if we could submit it for the CARES fund and get some of that money here locally versus other geographies, we all got to pay for it anyway. So
yeah, I would not be opposed.
Right, none of us knew what to expect in March as to what the impact and long-term impact was for us, let alone somewhere like the Career Networking Center. We didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know what we needed until we all hit this point. So I completely understand, needing to have extra funds in a year like this year, just to get them back at least up to the level of service that they're able to provide for people in virtual environments, support of a virtual environment, of looking for jobs. I completely 100% endorse this. And the fact that we can, get some CARES money is a bonus. I like to see these local extras if we have the opportunity in our budgets to do that, to support our local community. So I 100% agree. And if 5,000 is the amount you're recommending, then I'm in support of it.
Can I say something here? If the reimbursement is going to come from the county, which gets the money from the Fed, then we're really not putting any money forward from the township, if you will, with respect to helping out an organization that we think is very valuable to the community. And in a time of such a need as now, that I'd offer that maybe you should make it $7,500. And if you get $5,000 back from the county, God bless their soul, and then the township would kick in $2,500. I don't think that would be unreasonable.
Or could we structure it this way, Mary Jo?
Because the maximum amount for townships to be allocated to townships was $250,000 each, and I don't think we're going to be anywhere near that. So if we felt like it was important to do more, we could do more, and we could request reimbursement for more as well.
Could we come back later and ask for more? or
Under CARES Act,
otherwise?
not under CARES Act, because we have to submit it all by the end of November.
It needs to be done by December.
I would not be opposed to that.
Who would like to make a motion?
Well, can I ask this in line with what Ed said? Agreed that I think a starting point of 5,000 through the CARES Act as a structural, right, is the way to structurally get money to them through this program. And then actually maybe inviting them to our meeting in December or January to have them identify some areas of specific need where we could help additionally enhance. That would be fantastic. I think for us to understand or be able to have our constituents understand exactly how it's actually going to be put in motion and what changes we're making for that center and the impact on people finding jobs. So, Mary Jo, I know you work with them, quite closely. I'm sure that they can put together quite a presentation for us, identifying the need. But in order for tonight and the CARES Act to go through, if 5,000 is the recommendation, then I would make a motion to, how's it worded? Provide additional funding for the Career and Networking Center due to the COVID-19 impacts, in the amount of $5,000 as outlined by the supervisor.
Do you need a note about, and then could you also direct her to write that check in November?
To be ratified in next month's audit.
With the understanding that the check will be written by the November 30th and will be presented at audit in December.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's the motion. Yep.
Second by Tony.
Thank you.
Any further discussion before we move to vote? Then I will ask you to take roll call, please.
Trustee Reedy,
Yes.
Trustee Chapman,
December.
Trustee Signorella,
Yes.
and Supervisor Mullen.
Yes. Right. We've approved funding due to COVID-19 impacts for the CMC in the amount of $5,000. We'll immediately start working with Kim on moving that and moving forward. Next up is reports of elected officials. Ed, you got a lot to talk about, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. The administrative assistant, Sharon Connell, came down, well, her husband came down with COVID. They went down to visit their daughter last week in Tennessee, and he got a spider bite at they went to one of the breweries, I think, Jack Daniels, I think. And he was going to get the spider bite checked out, and they said, before you can come in, you have to have a COVID test, and he tested positive. I don't know how this works, but obviously driving back in a car with your husband, with your spouse, and one having COVID, it's hard for me to comprehend that she does not have COVID. She got tested today and is going to have to be in quarantine for 14 days. My concern, obviously, is for anybody in the department that came in contact with her. And that was limited to, because she was just back on Monday, so it's limited to 3 people: myself, our mechanic, Brad Pitch, and Chris Reeder, who came up. And I require everybody to wear a mask in the administrative sections of the building. And so theoretically, and she was wearing a mask, I was wearing a mask, and when Chris or Brad came up, they were both wearing masks. But who knows how this gets transmitted? I'm obviously very concerned for myself and my 2 employees. And I've talked to I called Rob Gaylord about it. He mentioned that on-site testing, which I think I need to evaluate because of my guys being out in the field together so much, especially during leaf collection. They're there raking leaves together next to each other. You ask them to wear a mask. Yeah, good luck with that. So I may evaluate that and institute some sort of random testing program, have them come out. I don't know, reasonable. So we're going to work our way through that. Then on the storm that just passed through, we haven't had any calls yet, so I assume we escaped any major damage. The crew is working on the 3rd round of leaf pickup this week. They should complete that by tomorrow. Then I expect one more round, and it looks like this year is going from leaf drop, looks like it's going like a storybook schedule, because most of the leaves are down now. So hopefully we won't have to extend the leaf program as we have in prior years going into December. I reported last month about 2 purchases. One was the front end loader for $150,000. By the time we got back to them, because I wanted to let you know I was going to purchase it, that machine was gone. So we wound up with a little different one. It was a little more expensive, but still a very good deal. And I also ordered the Peterbilt, which should be delivered before the end of the fiscal year. And then we'll send it to Monroe to have the back end put on. And that's all I got.
John, how about you?
The only thing I was going to say is the new building. They have cut out the windows, and they've got I believe that they've got the glass in. They were talking about that. They're pouring concrete, I believe it was today, for the other side. They've got the demising wall in. They were running about a week late because of of not being able to get some insulation, but I heard it was delivered today, so they should be back on track. That's it. Thank you.
On my side, so I've got notified by the DuPage Senior Citizens Council that there's 2 days that they had open coming this month. The first will be November 17th, and the other is, I believe, December 10th, to do another meal distribution, a 5-day distribution here on site for seniors to drive up, get a box of meals and some bag of drinks and stuff. So I've got to get that advertising pretty quickly. November 17th, so next week will be the first one, and then the other one is December 10th. I'm pretty sure 10th is what Tracy emailed me. So we're gonna get those taken care of, advertised. Brain just stopped. Oh, INET. INET was one of the things that was on last month's agenda to start having some conversations. I think we've all been learning more. And the next step for us, I think, before we really talk about it as a board, is I believe that John, Ed, and I need to go over and sit with the village and really hash out what exactly needs to happen. It sounds like maybe it's closer than we thought. And we just really need to work out exactly what our needs are, exactly what they need from us to be able to continue doing the full quote for INET, because what we initially got was a portion of it, and then there's other other things that need to get done too. So we will keep moving forward on that, and just try and have some time to sit down with the village and understand what all the costs up front would be, so we can do a good analysis of when you start recouping those costs to go down that path. So that one is back, not
Absolutely.
on hold, but I'm pulling it back from board discussion so we can keep getting more information from the village.
And if you need anything further from Comcast, I'll know.
Okay.
So the invoices is already provided, from my understanding, right? So,
Yeah, I think they submitted, but I know, like, then when I talked to Eric, he was kind of like, oh, then there's this and this and this. I'm like, okay, we need to understand the whole big picture.
That's
before we
in the
bring it
workings
forward.
of the consortium, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I had the whole picture before, I'm like, here's what this is. Oh, there's more.
Okay.
That's always a difficult way to bring it to the board. And I will say once again, thank you all for checking in on me multiple times. I'm much better. I'm doing pretty well, so thank you guys. And that's all that I have, which would bring us to other business. Does anyone have any other business to bring forward?
Nope.
So, I've been thinking recently, because of not having our annual meeting, not having kind of our understanding as we're kind of looking to a new election and a new structure, as well as COVID. Mary Jo, would there be a way for you to have the food pantry and the food services come to our meeting in December and just give us a mini synopsis of kind of where we're at right now? And I think also for Tony to kind of get a feel for what the thresholds are for qualifications for types of services. You know, if we could just, I feel like by not having the annual meeting, we kind of had a really big miss of us to all just reset and understand the good that we are doing when it comes to that leg of township government here. And also then for people to understand where we're at for measured thresholds, or if there's even a need to consider adjusting those due to COVID, especially now with the second round of impact of closure of businesses, things like that. If there's an opportunity for us to be in front of that responsiveness, I'd like to see if you could request for that in December, if that's not out of line. I just want to make sure that we are ahead of any potential impacts on our community, and so I would really like to hear from Laura, and I'm horribly blanking on the food pantry gentleman's name because thank you. So if you and again, we also have a new board member that I think it would be good since we couldn't introduce him.
Yeah, and I think having Sarah too to talk about how they've changed up with Jobs Club, and it's been really impressive that even in really difficult times, they've had a bunch of landings. I mean, there are some days that she report back to me, she's like, we had 2 landings today, you know, so like, they're clearly helping on the jobs front also. It's very difficult, more people are losing their jobs, but the jobs program is still being effective, even though it's an extra struggle right now. So I think having Sarah and give a little bit of a report also would be great.
And then maybe some of the qualifications. Why am I expecting words tonight? I'm sorry, I'm really tired. But if you might spreadsheet clean, like to just have it so that people can understand what the metrics are for how they meet and qualify for services. I know you've given to us in the past, we just haven't had an opportunity to update.
Yeah, especially we'll have a good projection. We'll have the first 11 months of the year. We'll have a good projection of kind of financial services, how this actually has gone through this whole period. We still haven't been hit as hard as I thought on the financial assistance side, but we are seeing a lot more people with rent than other things. We have a lot. I would say we have more people come in typically for our vouchers for food, sundries, and gas, and I typically see now every month more people coming in for rent and utilities than the voucher program. So it would be interesting to see how that part's changed as well.
Thank
and
you.
Again,
I appreciate
I'm spreadsheet for that. So cool. I will definitely do that. Any other business? Alrighty, then let's move into the audit. Is there a motion to go to audit?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any questions about going to audit? All right, we'll vote on.
Trustee Reedy,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
trustee Sigarella. Yep. And Supervisor Muller.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the audit?
So moved.
Chapman?
Kathy, do you have a
Kathy,
second?
do you want a second?
I'm sorry. Yes, I would like to second. My apologies.
Thank you.
Any questions on the audit?
None here.
Good with us including that? That's good.
Yeah, so do we need to make a special motion to include the?
No, I think it was already.
It's already done?
Yeah,
We're
already-
just officially doing it now.
Yeah.
You just did some of the legwork beforehand.
Yeah, so we're good.
We're good, just want to make sure we're all.
No, that's good. I
Perfect.
appreciate the concern.
Totally.
Trustee Reedy,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
Sigarella. Yes. Supervisor Muller.
Yes. No need for executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do you want to be the second?
I'll second.
All right.
Okay, hold on. I put some. So now we're gonna do roll call on this advice. We should have even Right.
You're just too excited.
Yes, right. Sorry, I'll go with Supervisor Mullin, we'll change it up.
Yes.
Trustee Cigarella? Yes. Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Okay, thank
All right. You're
Stay
adjourned.
healthy, everybody.
you.
Safe,
Bye-bye.
stay healthy.
Safe.
Happy Thanksgiving. Take
Yeah.
care, everybody.